Hey guys, so it's been a busy week over here in Joey G's audio channel and now audio video channel, I guess we could say. Got the 4 Atmos speakers all wired up. I just had enough straight wire to do the whole run. I had like 2 feet left over. Total serendipity. I even asked Jerry over at Straight Wire to ship me an extra 20 feet just in case, and of course that worked out well. It wasn't fun. I wound up figuring out how to crawl into the attic and then jump around the 2x4s without putting my foot through the drywall in between. Made another mess, but it was all that insulation fiber, the loose shit. So my wife Nancy helped me clean all that stuff up. You know, my mess as usual, and she always winds up cleaning up my shit. So not cool, I know, but it's got to be her way. The house has to be cleaned her way. Anyhow, so she was a big help, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with Atmos the last few days. Had another issue come up, which is coming back to my Bose 901s. I forgot that you have to have them set up as matched pairs. So Series 1 has to play with Series 1, and Series 2 has to play with Series 2. And it's all in the way the drivers were built. Series 1s had the square magnet on the back. I think they were Allen Co magnets. And Series 2 had the redesigned structure and speaker drivers and all this. And I think there was a little bit of a change in the impedance, and probably might be wrong on that, but anyhow, two tonally different balances. So I figured, okay, going forward, I got the one Continental over there, and I got the Series 2 over there, perfectly balanced tonally. The 2 Series 1s, my resto mods, they're going to be my side surrounds. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. Next thing is, the 4 subs, I got 2 of them here, and then the 2 in the back. I had to dial them down when my wife and I were watching Skyfall, and then Tomorrow Never Dies, which is a movie I'm really familiar with. It was intense. That the bass, there's a scene in Skyfall where the train, when the bad guy blows up the ground above the trains, the ground below the trains where the train has to go through, the train actually comes into the ground. And that moment, both my wife and I were like, holy shit, this is too much. So be that as it may, I dialed down the sub, and now that I've got everything set up with the Onkyo, it's a remote control, dial it down with a couple of notches. I don't have to get up. What I've done with the 4 subs is, when I'm running them in stereo, I turn off the AVR and I turn off the TV, obviously, and then I reconnect the speaker level inputs just at the back of the clipshes, because this side is one pair of subs, and that's another pair of subs, and the Onkyo is set up with 4 outputs, right? So technically this is the right and that's the left. But again, I found, and Ben came over and confirmed it, that I had it set up to 50 hertz because I thought 80 hertz was I could start hearing the subs. And because I'd been dialing it down so many times, Ben came over and said, put it up to 80, just trust me. And sure as shit, I put it up to 80, and it blended a lot better. Basically where the corn walls start to roll off, right? These things take over. And because they're 4 little subs, again, as I mentioned before, the back 2 are 180 degrees out of phase and the front 2 are 0 degrees. It just worked. And they only come in when they're supposed to. But one thing with the LFE channel on movies, and that's another thing, when I do use the processor, I just have to go around the back of either clips and just disconnect the speaker cables that are going to the speaker level inputs here, because once I disconnect it from there, right, these 2 are tied together, it automatically kills the speaker level back there. SVS called their customer support, which is amazing. I mean, I thought it was a little late because I'm on the Arizona time zone, which whatever that is nowadays. That I was going to be too late, like it was after 5 o'clock, and no, this guy Doug at SVS picked up the phone, and I asked him about, can I run the two in parallel, and he says you could, but you shouldn't, because there could be interference between the two inputs. One could be doing not damage, but tonally it may screw things up. And he said his best advice was disconnect the speaker terminals when I'm using the processor, and when I'm not using the processor, plug them back in. And again, that's where the whole Paul McGowan theory comes in, where yeah, it does sound better when you use the speaker level inputs, because you're basically getting the tonal character of the amplifier into the subs, and you're using the subs controls, as far as your low pass filter. So so yeah, I've pretty much got the subs dialed in where they should be now. And then getting back to the Dolby Atmos stuff, I mean, I'm finally having fun with audio for the first time since I can remember. It's been a few years. I mean, I've been chasing this, never-ending ghost called 2-channel audio, and just trying to get it just right. And finally, I've got, throat's a little dry. Finally, I've got it dialed up, between the Cornwall 4s and this guy is my center. No complaints. I mean, everything is perfect, And then when I'm in multi-channel mode, obviously I'm at the mercy of the DACs in there, and that's okay. The cool thing now with the Atmos speakers is, yeah, I used the pink noise generator in the Onkyo for all the channels, and I found this cheap audio spectrum analyzer app, and I actually used the type-in microphone to do my measurements with. And even though I dialed in all the levels, right, which looked fine from the center of all the speakers, like the center of the sphere, I guess you could say, it didn't sound right. I mean, left, center, and right were fine. In fact, I had to dial down the center a little bit. I found it was a little on the hot side. So I had to dial this guy down a bit. I had to bring up the surrounds a couple notches. And as far as the Dolby Atmos stuff, I seriously had to crank them, because I would play like Tragically Hip's Fully Completely Atmos mix, and I could barely hear what's coming out of the ceiling speakers. Now, at the same time, there's not always going to be information up in the ceiling, right? They only come on when whoever did the mix wants them on. So, makes total sense. But the thing is, even when the effects were there, you could barely hear it. So then I figured I'll get out my Let It Be and Abbey Road Dolby Atmos mixes. And what I did was I turned off the amplifier, and I just played Come Together just through the Atmos channels, right? So the front heights and the rear heights and all that. And in Come Together, there's a couple of small little guitar little riffs that were specifically put in the ceiling, right, by Giles Martin. And I could just barely hear them, so I bumped it up a little bit. And I played the entire album, and yeah, it was very cool. The Atmos effects, they were just basically what Giles Martin's mixes are. Sometimes, to surprise the listener, he'll put things in the ceiling, but most of the time he's literally using for what they were designed for, to bring some added height, to the mix, so you don't need a 8-foot tall line array, to get the same feeling, right? And because these are 8-inch woofers with the fabric dome tweeter, not the titanium dome, right? They sound just right. Another one was Let It Be. I think it's during For You Blue, where there's a few little George Harrison riffs, and they're specifically coming from the back height channel. Very small, right? But they sound right. When you listen to the 5.1, it comes right out of the same channel, but the background. Which one do I prefer? I like them both, but it was kind of cool to have just the height channel. That side means everything's working, right? And so I'm looking forward to more Dolby Atmos audio only mixes, so, you know, but yeah. The one thing that seriously pisses me off, and guys, if you can put it in the comments, how the fuck do you get Amazon HD, or I took the fucking 3-month Apple bullshit trial. I don't want to fucking pay for Apple and fucking Amazon just to get Atmos mixes. How the fuck do you get it to work on that fucking computer? Because I couldn't get fucking Atmos mixes to come out of that fucking, that's the latest generation M2 piece of shit, right? The only thing that fucking thing is good for is watching, is surfing the web and, you know, what's it, Disney. Because Disney Dolby Digital only works, no, sorry, Apple Dolby Digital only works with that fucking thing. Sorry about the rant, but I'm seriously pissed me off because I keep hearing headphone. I don't give a fuck about Dolby Atmos for your fucking headphones, right? If you have the Atmos mixes, why can't I just play it back through that guy? Why is it so fucking hard, right? I couldn't get anything to fucking work. So, you know, I don't know if any of you guys have any videos or anything, because I've combed the web and everything points to a dead end, right? Even Mean Gene's Audioholics, a couple of videos he did on how to get Dolby Atmos, it didn't help. You know, not that he obviously, the man knows what he's doing, right? What he's talking about. But I couldn't get it to work with that piece of shit. I haven't tried with a Windows PC, but I'll bet you it'll fucking work, which will really piss me off. But anyhow, so there's the little tangent. If anybody can help me out there with Dolby Atmos via Amazon HD or God forbid Apple Music, you know, let me know, because I couldn't get it to work. All right, that bit's done. Let's get back to the more cool stuff. So yeah, I'm seriously happy with this setup. I mean, I've got perfectly, totally satisfied with my 2-channel rig, and now I've got a full surround sound setup. You know, I've got my, what they call the bed channels. I just got to get the two 901s connected for side surround duty. And then again, the cool thing with the Klipsch's was I was able to point both the woofer and the tweeter towards the listening position on all 4. And, you know, obviously you're not going to get a phantom center out of the ceiling, but whatever. It works. I'm happy. Life is good. And yeah, I don't really have too much else to say other than I'm like a kid in a candy shop right now. I don't know, anywhere I can get any immersive audio files, you know, I go for it. Tonight my wife and I were watching on Netflix the latest Christian Bale movie, and it was really cool. And there's a scene near the end, without doing any spoilers, where this old house catches on fire, and it literally, as the fire's getting higher and higher, you could actually hear the sound transition from the main left and right up to the ceiling speakers. It was so cool. And then I went on IAA website, I think it's Immersive Audio something or other, downloaded Bob James Trio. They had both the 5.1 and the immersive. The immersive, because it's an MKV file, it won't play back on the Sony, so I think I can play it back if I plug the memory stick in directly into the Onkyo, but whatever. But I did listen to the 5.1 since it was there, and it was pretty cool. But I wanted the immersive tracks just to see, you know, how they did it, because it's just 3 musicians, so that was another one. So yeah, it's like, bring on the Atmos, and, you know, let's have some fun again with audio, because this whole sitting, you know, and just going batshit crazy over 2-channel audio, I'm done with it. You know, I'm happy. Life is good. Now let's get back to my first love, which has always been multi-channel. I don't care if people say, oh, it's not natural, it's not this. Bullshit, you know. And yeah, I check out the Life in Surround YouTube channel. I've been, you know, following his stuff for the last little while, and you know, from what I hear, there's a lot of good stuff coming up for this year. And yeah, guys, that's basically it. You know, have a good rest of your weekend. I'll probably upload this tomorrow. Probably if I can think of it, I might come up with another bullshit video to shoot over the weekend. But, you know, thanks again. And if you can help me out with the Apple and Amazon shit once again, let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. And hey, check out Potato Hi-Fi. This lady has got it going. She's young. She keeps her videos short. She's a lot more fresher to watch than all of us old fucks on YouTube. And I mean the guys with the beards and the guys without the beards, you know, brown, Chinese, whatever. Yes, we're all full of bullshit, all of us, fair enough. But she's got a fresh take on equipment that we all love seeing other people, well, when I say love seeing other people review, not really. Even if you're a gray-haired guy with glasses and long hair, you know, doesn't matter. Check out Potato Hi-Fi. I'll put links in the comments. Really awesome channel, you know. I'd love to see her channel get 100,000 subscribers in a year. Honestly, I mean, she's that good. She's that fresh and she's that good. Have a good weekend. And, of course, cheers.